All right. Sorry for the delay. All right. Ready to rock. So, did you miss me?
Yes.
Always.
Okay. I hope so. So, okay. So, we didn't have for 2 weeks. So, let's hear your questions. If you have any, anything you want to share.
How do you deal with frustration when for a month or like half a year or a year you feel like there's no progress?
Expectations can destroy us. So, you have to really embrace zero expectations. Work on something and do not expect that you're going to get there. So think about that 10,000 people in the country, uh, weightlifters, and everyone wants to go to Olympics, and one only goes. So what does it mean? It means that nobody goes, right? Even though it's a goal. So you have to really give everything what you have. But whether you get there or not, it really doesn't matter because it's your journey. So it's a journey. It's like people with IVF, right? Some of them they give 10 rounds. It's very depressing, but they keep going, right? And whether they get there or not, it's unknown. You really don't know. Since you don't know, why would you expect? You have a goal and you work toward the goal. So the mind has to be healthy. It means that it focuses on working on the goal, but not really getting there. So my coach was saying that the Olympics are not the fire over the horizon; it's a flicker. You give this flicker, and the major really changes that substantial changes happen after 5 years. So not really, half a year. It's just almost nothing in any kind of endeavor. What the people will do. It's what can be done in half a year. You can ask people, let's say, a sculpture about half a year. He will say, "Whoa, what? Half a year? What is half a year?" No, no, pianist, half a year. Sometimes, pianists can work on certain flaw and it takes a year, two, five to eliminate, and maybe never. So zero expectations and work on it. And then you are working on it and take the things as they come. Because the other things is that when we expect, we also compare. So if you compare yourself, you will set up yourself for a disaster. So it's your journey, it's nobody's journey. Yeah. We just have, and it's your experience, nobody else's experience. So you cannot say that I know what you feel. If you are alcoholic and somebody talks to you, he's alcoholic, well, you have some ideas what it means and you can feel for somebody. But if you were not alcoholic and alcoholic talks to you about experience, well, don't try to tell that. You know how it feels because it's crazy. So the relationship, ability to feel for the person, the other that has a different experiences and journey, well, we need to respect. We have friends that have a baby with surrogate mother, and that is a different experience that our experience. So, if you hear the experience, you have to really hear the experience without thinking that you can relate to it, because you cannot, because the experience is a value, the final value of something. It is not something that we can relate to. It's unique. Cannot relate, but you can listen to, you can hear, you can see, oh, and you can have open questions. So how did it feel when you were there on this, that? So you can explore the experiences of somebody. So your experiences on the journey are your experiences. So don't mix those experiences with somebody else. As soon as you do, we are out to comparison. Comparison is a disaster. It will destroy you. It will make you depressed. It's a horrible thing to do. I hope it helps. What do you think? Would anybody else can say something? Talk, because there's the important issues about.
Yeah, I suppose part of, if I could just weigh in on this a little bit, part of the struggle is the mind having a question, are you doing the work you're meant to be doing? And maybe there's something else you should be doing. There is that kind of distraction going on in the head.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Simply you distress yourself, and that's a horrible thing to yourself. It's really in a different way of saying that you are hostile to yourself.
Mm.
If you distrust yourself, that is hostility you're sending really to yourself.
I think that's what commitment means.
Right.
To stay the course, make the choice, make the decision, make the commitment.
And trust the process, right?
Trust the process.
Trust
But our
it.
minds, of course, will mess with us at every opportunity.
And then once you 100% trust the process, it helps. You're relaxed, you're doing it, you are appreciating little small progresses. It's very helpful. You know what you're doing, and you know your uh, your experience, your place in the world, and your time in the world. It's extremely important. It's like Thomas, you are tall and skinny, and you have different joints, and those joints are not the same as a 5 foot weightlifter, and that is short and built, and it's or a gymnast. It's you are on a different road. You live the life of a tall man and skinny, and it takes time. So you have to see your unique place that you are working with. And if you stay with yourself, then you will get there. you'll get to that, yourself without anybody else. Like my journey is my journey. It's nobody's journey. It's like, come on, I have my journey, right? My journey is my journey, and my struggle is my struggle, and my past is my past. Nobody has the same past. So, pursuing something that you want to eventually reach the quality of it is quite a journey. I in 94, so before that, the journey is really interesting because about 92, we had the happy body already, but it was all in our brains. So we wanted to write it. So we hired a writer. After about, 3-6 months, we saw the manuscript. And I know, so it's so bad. It's so bad. so we hired another one. And the same happened. Even though we spent time, there's no way that something in us could come out because it was not really on a paper. It was not easy for the happy body to come out. So I thought in 93, really, we need really becoming writers. Otherwise, we will never get the happy body out. Okay. So in 90, and we were working on poetry at that time. So we'll go study creative writing and in poetry. So in 95, I sent my manuscript and to Vermont College, and it was rejected. So I called the college and I asked the person that I talked to in the admission office why my manuscript was rejected and who rejected it. She said, notice. I said, well, you need to know about me something. I want to learn what is not enough in this manuscript, so I could work on it and send this manuscript back to you next year. And if you reject, I will send again and again until you accept me. And that's my journey. That's going to happen. And she said, okay, let me talk to somebody. So, but 2 days I had this phone call from the dean, the head of the writing department, who actually saw my manuscript. And he told me, what was it about? That the writing had really emotional impact, but the craft of writing seemed to be like a translation. So I asked what to do. He gave me 3 different professors in Los Angeles, and I contacted 3 of them. I talked to a USC professor, and I asked him about, his advice. He said, surround yourself with poets, So we joined this Baroque club in Venice, of poets. And then I called to Ralph Angel. He was the head of writing department at Redlands. And Ralph, because we have birds and he loved birds, he would never answer the question, but he heard our birds and he thought, wow, some good people, they have birds. So he goes back. And I went to see him, and he was very unhealthy. So I talked to him about the happy body. And I helped him with the happy body, and he was helping me with poetry. So he had this meeting. I said, well, I told him, he was joking for years about it. He said, the first time that you saw me, he said, Ralph, you had very healthy brain, but very unhealthy body. So the journey began. Then I went to the seminar by Technahan in 95. It was almost the same time. And I showed there that there's this poet that he gives this poetry workshop and works with people one-on-one, like I was working. So I met him in Venice. He lived in Venice. We lived in the valley at the time, so it was about 30, 40 minutes drive. So when he took my manuscript, it was 100 poems. It was about 10 years of work. And he looked at that. He spent maybe 2 seconds on the first page, 2 seconds in the middle, look at the end, to maybe 5, 6 seconds, drop the manuscript to the ground. He says, it's all garbage. And he was looking at me. So I was lucky because, around the same time, I was working with this Paul Volter, and was sent from Colorado University. And he came, and at the time I was at UCLA, and he asked me, the coach wrote the note. So I look at the note and then look at him, and he needed Olympic weightlifting to improve the power. So I asked him, so do this nudge. So he did this nudge. And I said, that's okay. And he said, oh, I can do more. I said, that's enough. So I needed only 2-3 seconds to see what he learned, where he is, and what he needs to do. I needed 1-2 seconds. That's it. So at that time, I knew that that's what the case is. So my poet was looking at me after that. He dropped my manuscript to the ground, and he said, okay, so it's going to be like that. In 5 years, if we work together, in 5 years, well, maybe you will write one stanza of poetry. In 10, maybe a poem. In 15, well, you will know about writing. In 20 years, maybe you will find out whether you are a poet or not. I look at them and smile. I said, well, in 20 years, I will be here. So why not to find out whether I am a poet or not at the time? So I committed to 20 years. After 20 years, I still was working with Peter, and still today work with Peter. Peter moved to Canada, so we have Zoom sessions like you have. So it's already 30 years, right? So that is the commitment that artists want, and athletes. And why? Because they also are part of it. part of the journey, part of the, yeah. Of course, they want to send somebody to Warsaw Championship, like for the pianist, right? But any master, when the master takes people to teach, really want that exchange, right? The exchange of the journey. That journey is happening and improving and so on. So after 30 years, I must say that I love poetry. I'm a poet, and I write poetry. And in my PhD program, I'm going to use poetry and emotional eating. My dissertation will be around that, how poetry affects people facing challenges with food. So the journey is on. The most important factor is here that you get to something that you improve. When Peter looked at my manuscript, he said, you work with me and it will be 1 year. You go on and you work on your own, it will be 20 years to progress the same way. So in weightlifting, it's just the same thing. People in the gym, they just lift weights and do snatches and do the snatches certain way. And after 20 years, there's no really much change in the way of really doing things. Why is it so? Because you really need mentors and people to really have in their brain the progress. Without the visual progress, where we are going, we go nowhere. We just trade water. But the quality, the pursuit of quality is here important. So what do I really focus on, and what are the qualities that in my life I pursue? Olympic weightlifting, poetry, and meditation. This three. The happy body became something that came out of us meantime during this process. But if you spread, you don't have chances. It's like your pursuit has to be for many, many years and with the same thing. Then you have a chance to improve and to get where 10 years can get you. That's why variety is the worst thing that can happen to people. Variety is a horrible thing. Horrible. That's what people crave. 99% love variety, and they want variety. They want always different training, different exercises, and different, right? Well, if you go there, there will be different writing. For 2 months you'll be writing songs, and next 2 months you will be writing novels, and the next 2 months you will be writing the poetry, and next 2 you will be writing memoir, and on and on and on. Then you will come out with the screenplay, and then after 2 months you will change into the haiku poems. So, this is it. To really achieve something substantial and really that's something that counts, something that is really you become a master of it, takes time. Takes really time. I meditate, TM, use TM for meditation since I think 90 could be 90. So about 35 years. Okay. And, that changed our life. Work with a lot of mentors and committed always to the end. And I didn't, there was this time when I thought my poems will, I will be able to write songs. And it was around 90s to 90 maybe. And then what happened is that I started playing piano. And playing piano interfered with my poetry, actually. These two arts started really fighting for time that I didn't have. So it was clear for me that I have to give up one. So give up on piano. Stay with poetry. So, Thomas, this is it. I hope it helps to set up your mind. But I have to tell you that in the gym at the first year, I was working on a stick. The coach didn't give me even a bar to work on my coordination, my flexibility. I got finally to flexibility that I still have today. Didn't lose it.
Yeah, I actually put in my head so that this year is only about flexibility actually. But then I have days where I'm like, oh, today I feel good, and then yeah, and then sometimes I don't know. I'm trying to not even cross any barrier because I always put up the box. I'm not going too low, but sometimes I feel my knee, and then again I'm frustrated. I still keep doing the work, but yeah, some days it's easier to work with that frustration, and this last week it was tough.
You are learning what others, don't have the lesson. So your lesson is already there. So you really need to be the master of your flexibility and your progress. It means if you push, you have to learn patience. If you push too fast, then you have to learn it. Okay, do I need on that level 3 weeks, 5 weeks, 10 weeks? You have to really learn how much time do you need on that level. And you need to give it to the body. So the body adapts to that level. And then, okay, another question is, how much down? Inch? Half? 1 centimeter? Half of the centimeter? So you really need to discover that too, because it is your body, and if you were in my place and you came here for every week, I would be able to help you with that. And I would be the one that is responsible for numbers. But you are responsible for those numbers. So it means that you have to learn those numbers for yourself and execute them. And you are responsible for the progress because there is no way that you cannot squat all the way down without pain. You just need to have that journey with your knees that is needed for that. So there is definitely the journey that can take you there. But you have to really be a master of that. You have to take the ownership of that. responsibility for that and nothing else. So you don't complain. The complaint that comes from, oh, it doesn't work for me, like somebody would work for you. So it's really funny how people describe that something doesn't work. It's really crazy. And the complaint comes because we don't take 100% ownership of our progress. And we debate, we complain with words that world is not fair, or the program is not good. So you start complaining about it. I think that there's a poem, Everything Works. I don't know if you remember the poem.
I know it very well. I've read it once. I've read it so many times. You have no idea.
This is good. Yeah, that's already good. You read the right poem.
I actually already read this poem to some other friends that said, I've already read this poem to other friends that said some things don't work. So, yeah.
Yeah, so
But no,
you need to integrate that into your life. So you take the ownership of that, what you are doing. And you are creating this. The poem is asking to become the ownership of that thing. So the wisdom is to be behind what happens to you in life. Then you will never complain. Because how would you complain? Will you complain to you that you're not good? So it's really something that whatever you do, you give everything what you have. And if you do, why would you complain then? There's no reason for complaining, right? Because you're doing everything what you can. So the poem, Everything Works. One day my friend told me, it doesn't work. Is there anything in life that doesn't work? I answered. He looked at me smiling. There are many things that don't work. For example, I'm trying to lose weight, but it doesn't work. What happens? I asked. I get stuck, my friend. Then you know, I told him. What do you know? Being stuck works. My friend laughed and said, it's so easy to miss. You cannot imagine how many times I heard it doesn't work. That's why I wrote the poem. Finally, say, okay, a poem is needed. When people today say it doesn't work, I have a poem for you. Start the conversation right there. You triggered a great conversation, Thomas, today. Yeah. Anybody else would you like to comment? Yeah, share.
Not comment, but a question. Is it possible to be too patient?
No, it's only possible that you don't do the right thing to get better. So you are asking about the progress, right? About something to progress, and you are patient that, and then you can have a wrong craft to get there. So let's say you want a happy body, but you follow some kind of training that is not capable of to deliver the happy body. But you want a happy body. So you will not have it. So you can be patient there, doing the wrong thing, and expecting something else, right? So that would be, it's like you want to gain muscle, but you run marathons. And you're patient in running marathons, right? But because you want to gain muscle and the marathon running cannot deliver the growth of muscle, then you could consider that is you are patient, but you are not getting what you want to get. Does it sound like the right answer, Rick, or you think about something else?
No expectation.
Right. So there are goals, right? There are certain goals that we want that happen. So gaining muscle is a goal, right? But then you keep working on it and it's not happening. So we should know at certain point that this is not happening and question whether it is the right thing or not. Is it really possible even for that to deliver that? And then you can read, you can do the research, and you can come out, well, running marathon is actually causing the muscle loss. And I wanted to gain muscle. And a person can find themselves in a position of doing something that would not get them to their goal. Yes, the plan matters a lot. Like the happy body is a there are goals, right? There are goals like 6 different standards, and then there is a plan to get, and that plan needs to be executed. And then it depends on the person. There is a different journey, like Thomas's journey is different journey. The plan can be not good, and that not good plan delivers not good results. That can happen too. So do you have a good plan? You have to question whether the plan is right, the goals, the plan, the strategies, if everything works here. So it has to be a philosophy behind of that, whatever you do. Plan needs to be really good or executed, some plans are really hard to execute, like my journey with poetry, that I needed really the mentor all the time. I didn't have a plan that I would do, because without, I had 10 years of writing and my poetry was garbage. So, okay. So, but after 20 years, I opened the book today, like my, teacher. I open the book, I read 3-4 words, and I know already whether to read the poem or not. I know already the level of this poem. It's like a snatch. When I see the snatch, I know the level of that snatch and how many years somebody needs to improve the snatch to the certain level. I see it in 2 seconds. So when you become master of something, that's how it works. Whether in the business that you are in, it doesn't matter what you do.
So the plan is right when you achieve the goal, executing this plan.
When you have the science that is working, right? You have the science, or it's coming from people that really went through the journey. So how you can decide at the beginning that the plan is right, right? Has to come from somewhere where people know what they were doing. That's the first, right? That's why, it is important. Who is your mentor? Where the plan is coming from? And then can you look into the plan, whether the plan has mathematical equation, mathematically created, where you can test it, or it is only in the experiences, right? So philosophy or poetry will be somewhere where it's really hard to know where it is. But the happy body, for example, it was created with numbers. So a person can take the happy body and recreate that with all these numbers and follow the numbers and test those numbers. So numbers are important to know whether something even could work or not, how it works and how to test it. The goal is there, right? The goal is to be flexible, but how to get there? That is really the tough question, and where to go with that. So the Happy Body gives the microprogressive system that is the most helpful that we could imagine. Yeah, that you can control with numbers progress. So you cannot get better than that, because as soon as you have mathematical equation, you are already on numbers. When it comes to Olympic weightlifting, there are both. There is a mathematical equation where we are going, but also a lot of things that could happen on the way. That's why we need coaches and mentors and so on. So, for example, Thomas, he's the coach and he's the master of the progress. That's why it's tough on him, because he has to learn both. But when weightlifters come to a gym, to a team, then the coach is there. So the journey is a little bit different. When you take the Happy Body, you have a plan, you have numbers, you have the goal, and you start engaging it. And things happen during this process. Some people go through the process of the Happy Body and never have the situations as Thomas has. And others, like Thomas, or even worse, they have really struggled, right, with the body. It just the body needs more patience, more time to adapt. So I have a lot of people, they have back problem and takes a year and to release it, or shoulder problem, same thing. So it takes time, but also it takes the plan, the right plan with the micro-progressive system. It takes both, yes. So you are in the first year of elite, right? Well, think about elite, the Happy Body elite, okay? It's the first year of the Happy Body elite. So what does it mean in this first year? First of all, flexibility for the elite is crucial, right? So Some of you do work with that flexibility. Meantime, to learn also Olympic weightlifting, which is really hard because you work on both. Some of you are really awesome. You go all the way down and you do the snatches and so on, right? So everybody's journey is a different journey. That's why comparing yourself is a really tough thing to do on yourself. As soon as you compare yourself, you will always find people that they are better than you. They have something that you don't, something that you want, but you don't have it. Some other people have it. Or some people are taller, shorter than you, or richer or healthier and younger. You can find it. You can find a way how to hurt yourself. Easy to do. It's easy choice, right? Hard choice always comes with the effort, the place that we are, what we need to do, the ownership, to take the ownership of the progress. Like I see Margaret. Margaret changed so much, from the beginning. You came to our retreat, right? And you can see who you were and who you are today. It's just amazing, right? Talk about that. Talk about your journey when you saw us first time.
Yeah, I mean, I can so relate to, what you're saying. I mean, obviously my journey is so different to Thomas's. We're almost not on the same planet, you know. I mean, I had to put my box up to 50 centimeters, back up to 50 centimeters. And I've been doing that and I haven't increased the weight, for ages or decreased it. And yet, at the same time, I feel the benefits of the practice and the training. Um, in ways that wouldn't be obvious to others, perhaps, but there's a spring in my step. I can move fast. I can react. All of those things are really important to me right now. That it's not, I may never go all the way down. Who knows? I mean, it's very good at my age to take on a 5-year project, especially a 5-year physical project. Um, but I don't know. I wish that I'd started this program a little bit further back. But, we're here now and I, you mightn't believe this, Jersey, but I agonized so much about clicking yes to come on this, about, putting my name into the hat for it. Um, but it's just everything about there's such simplicity to it, which is what I always loved about the Happy Body. It's complex, but it's also simple. You just do this, this all these exercises, a complete sequence. I mean, it's a system, and our bodies are a system. Beautifully complex systems. And I love the way the Happy Body addresses all of that. We're all body, including, up here. We're all body. And I think, doing the Happy Body and doing the practice I'm currently doing the training I'm currently doing reflects that. And it's simple. Just do it. It's not easy, but it's simple. And that's what I love about it. Yeah.
Thank you. That's the point, right? The hard choice. Something
Yeah.
that delivers hard choices, must be something that can bring the progress. You need to work on, like in the poem, work on the thing that actually you see the progress and progress. And you really need to see if something that you need to improve, talk like Thomas needs to talk about, okay, what are the levels? How is my body reacting? Listen to those things and not creating in the brain, the mind, complaint, disappointment, or whatever it is. It's no value in it. That's actually is pretty bad for ourselves. To complain is already negative energy, and you are sending into yourself. So, in order not to complain, you have a different engagement. Oh, and questions. Oh, I work on that. The pain comes in. So in the last 3 months, I went from this level to up, and I had no pain. Then I work, and the pain happened at the same time. What should I do? Where to go now? That is the ownership. And then these are the details of the story. So you have to learn that story. If you complain, you will get yourself out of the story, and you will not be able to really see in details the details that I can actually tell you what is the next step to take. You take the 100% ownership for what you are doing, and how to listen to the details, so you learn more. You learn about, because you're constantly learning. The body is a live thing, and the live thing can be in pain, can have problems, situations, and so you have to work with that and learn that, and constantly focus on what's happening, so you learn what is the next step to take. But you have to be the owner, right? You're the master of it. And as soon as you complain, you get away from it. You hurt yourself. You're not with it. I usually, when I overwhelm, I work on something and I could complain, then I slow down more, even more than before. I start reading slowly, very slowly, slow down the system. Then I can recapture the flow, right? It's easy to be overwhelmed. Yes, of course. The challenges are there. Well, see how it goes.
Very helpful. Thank you. Thank you all.
Yeah, it's a, I have, I could have, the word Thomas for closure. But no, I will remember it. All right, Thomas, what's the word for today?
Actually cannot translate the word from German, but there is one where you have optimism towards the future. So, and
Interesting.
in German it's called Zuversicht. So that's my word.
What is
Zuversicht.
it?
Zuversicht. It's
I see.
optimism towards the future.
Okay.
Yeah.
Grzegorz?
Ownership.
Margaret?
Commitments.
Darcy?
Long term.
That's what I got, 20 years. Yeah. Mine would be really ownership, right?
And could I just say, Jersey, we were here last week, but I don't think you sent out the recording.
We were here last week.
Mm.
I didn't send the recording. Well, we'll see.
I can't remember who was here now, but there were
It's
there were a
good
few.
good that you reminded me, but let me see.
Mm.
I will find
Yeah.
out by sending this one
Mm.
whether it's there. It must be somewhere. So I will send it. Sorry, I missed that.
Okay.
All right. Okay, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a
Bye,
lot.
everyone.
See you next week. Bye bye.
Awesome.